You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Joining us now here in studio, we have Steve Moore, the host of More Money and also the author of the Trump Economic Miracle. Steve, what do you make of, we were just talking, there are these economists out there that say that Trump's economy, his plan is not as good as Kamala's.
It's going to be inflationary.
Right.
Is that ridiculous or what?
And it reminds us of the 51 Intel officers who said it's Russian disinformation, the Hunter Biden laptop. Is it the same group?
So this story got a lot of attention, and in fact, in the Chicago Economics Club,
You mean the January 6th Club?
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, here's what the report said in the Wall Street Journal. They interviewed 50 economists from Wall Street, and they said Kamala Harris's agenda would be better for inflation and better for the debt than Trump's. And we were laughing about this off air because, of course, Donald Trump was president. He was the president for 4 years, and the average inflation rate. Do you know what the average inflation rate, Rita, was the 4 years he was president?
Very good.
1.9%.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say 1.9.
Which is below the Fed's target of 2%. Do you know what the Biden-Harris average annual inflation rate has been? 6.5%.
And at one point went to, 9%. Skyrocketed, right?
So we've been saying all along, Steve, he promised the poor people a better deal. He promised the middle class a better deal. And they're paying double or triple for their gasoline. Exactly. And they're paying 30-40% more for their food.
Exactly. And that's why people
Where's the better deal?
And so these economists must be suffering from severe Trump derangement syndrome to say that Trump would be worse than Kamala when they both have records. It's like saying you have two batters you can bring to bat with two outs in the ninth inning. One guy hit 4 home runs in a row and the other one struck out the last 3 times up. Who are you going to bring out of the plate? They want the guy who struck out, in this case, the gal. The other thing they talked about was the debt. They say the debt's going to be worse under Trump than under Kamala. Now, by the way, neither of them had very good records on the debt. Okay, neither of them. They both increased the debt. But
Trump was COVID.
No, but even when you take out COVID, the debt did go up under Trump. But it went up twice as fast, twice as much under Biden and Harris. So how can you say with a straight face that Harris would be better on the debt? And how can you say he would? And by the way, that article's gotten all this attention. All the media keeps talking about this. And by the way, you asked the question off air. Who are these economists?
Right.
We don't even know who they are.
Right. Well, and the problem, I think, Steve, is if you just look at one side, like you said, it's sort of this gaslighting. It's this group, like we were just going back to the 51 Intel. How many times was it recited? We heard it in the debate. Biden used it in the debate. Yep. People still go back to the 51 Intel, even though many of them have been discredited. Mm-hmm. How do people get the real facts from fiction other than reading your book?
Well, that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
The book is called The Trump Economic Miracle. Donald Trump came up with the title. He wrote the foreword to the book. I wrote it with the most famous economist in the world, Arthur Laffer, who should have been the one who won the Nobel Prize yesterday. He did not. But I want people to get it because, especially if you have friends or family or neighbors who are undecided, and there are a lot of undecided voters out there, Rita, those are the people who have to read the book because we just put side to side. Here's what happened under Trump. Here's what happened under Kamala Harris and Biden. You make up your mind, but these are the facts. And on almost every economic measurement, the economy, people's economic conditions were better under Trump. And by the way, the polls, most recent polls show Americans feel they can trust Trump on the economy more than Kamala Harris.
They can trust Trump on the border.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And they can trust, especially with the fentanyl coming in from the Mexican gangs.
Mm-hmm. John, you're exactly right. So, I always say this is hopefully a 3-eye election: immigration, inflation, and incomes. And those are the three, in my opinion, the three most important issues. And on each one of those, Trump's performance was far superior.
What's happening with all the pharmacies, Walgreens? I just saw today 1,200 are closing. I mean,
this is supposed to be this great economy. Every time you open up the newspaper,
according to the economists,
you see more. Yeah, according to these same economists who've gotten it completely wrong. So I'm very worried about this. I think this is an economy that is very fragile. I think the worst thing we could possibly do right now is put in a novice at best to handle the economy. Trump is a businessman. John, how long have you known Trump? Probably
about 45 years.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a great businessman, just like you are.
No, he knows the score. I mean,
right, and that's why my dream ticket.
And the most important thing, the foreign leaders respect him
exactly,
and they won't cross him.
That's exactly right.
That's important. Security is very important.
Peace and prosperity.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel safe at home, and boy, with all the threats, one of the things we were also just talking earlier about all the threats against Trump. I mean, scary stuff.
Well, I said that again yesterday. I said Iran is going to lose $300 billion if Trump gets elected. And the Mexican cartels
will bankrupt them.
Are going to lose billions and billions of dollars.
And Russia, think about how much money Putin is going to lose if we drill, baby, drill.
Yeah, big stuff. Big stuff. Go ahead, Judge Weinberg.
And Steve, you have another problem, which is if the Trump tax cuts die, that's an automatic tax increase for everyone.
$2,000 per family.
Right. And
$2,000.
And as a real economist, as opposed to the 50s, Steve, you understand that when you raise taxes, that's not good for the economy. Yep. It's not good for productivity.
There's another
question.
Great point, Judge. And that's another question, Rita, I'd love to hear Brett Baer ask Kamala. How are you going to make the economy better if you're going to raise $5 trillion in taxes?
By the way, I'd love to see her get the grilling that Trump got with the Chicago Economic Club today. She wouldn't last 5 seconds. Right. I'm telling you, to his credit, because he does understand it, as you guys understand all too well. He was at least able to go back and forth with the very inside stuff, even on the economy and on January 6th. But she wouldn't have lasted 5 seconds.
By the way, even in that interview today, and you're right, it was a very adversarial interview, but Trump handled it masterfully.
Yeah, and the crowd was cheering.
And Kamala couldn't possibly pull that off.
Never. She couldn't have handled it for 5 seconds. Well, Steve, thank you.